just like to welcome you this evening to the William Angliss Great Chef's Dinner. I hope you have a nice dinner. I got into the industry when I was 14. I was just a young fella. I'm actually Melbourne born and bred, but my old man's from South Australia, so we moved over there when I was about 12, 13. And just the way that the school years worked and stuff, I went from year 9 here to year 11 in South Australia, so I'd finished year 11 at 14. I actually did my 3rd and 4th year of my apprenticeship. In the old days there, young fellas, when you had to do 4-year apprenticeships, not just 3 in credits. The first half of my career I worked under an Austrian chef by the name of Pickett, who had a restaurant called Jarmu's. He's pretty much the Jacques Raymond of Adelaide, really. Great chef, hard, old school. You know, a 70-year-old chef now was trained by, you know, and you're thinking Austrian, German mentality from the 20s and 30s when he was trained in the 50s and 60s. He was a hard old fucker, do you know what I mean? And he was like, that's it, he's German, it is strict, you know your place. One thing that I like about being in Victoria and being back in my hometown is the fact that I didn't do my apprenticeship here. I've got no affiliation with the schools. I haven't got any good or bad memories of going through trade school here. So it's great for me, you know, to then come back and sort of look at what I might have gone through in my sort of, you know, hometown. I worked at a 2-star Michelin called The Square in Mayfair under a great chef and a great man by the name of Philip Howard. I was there for 3.5 years. Went away for 12 months and just got the bug. Ended up being junior sous chef there when I was 23. Left at 24 and came back home. Worked, when I returned, worked for Donovan Cook at Ondine, which was a great experience. They sort of cleaned up all the awards that year. Donovan and Pip got 3 hats and Chefs of the Year, so that was a great year. And Best New Restaurant, I was his head chef when I first got back. But before that, when I returned from South Australia, worked under another famous French chef in Melbourne, Philippe Michel, at Restaurant Paul Bocuse. So I worked with Philippe when I was only really young, I was only 20. So we shut down Bocuse and we went to Langton's, and then Europe, and then came back. Went to Ondine, and then when we'd finished at Ondine, sort of at a little bit of a loose end in 04. Philippe Michel was at Crown Casino then. He encouraged me to get involved in the Bocuse d'Or. That's a biannual competition held in Lyon, run and started by the man himself, by Monsieur Paul Bocuse, in its 20th year now. So 2005 I competed. I was lucky enough to represent my country. We came 14th in the world, which was a great honour, a great experience, a great learning curve for me. And when I got back from that, I went and worked on a super yacht for 7 months and cruised the Med for a billionaire as his private chef, which was a great experience. And then came back and yeah, started at the Point. Obviously I'm classically French trained. We probably cook modern French-ish with a little bit of modern Italian and modern British. So that sort of genre then sort of associating with Australian products and being in Australia, I like to sort of call contemporary Australian. I like to cook as all, you know, chefs do with the seasons. That's obviously my base, and my palate starts with, you know, and not just my sort of food palette, but my sort of colour palette, or where we're looking at sort of doing things, you know, through the seasons. Now we're in winter, we're getting really dark and heavy and into braisers and slow cooked meats. You know, just cooking with the seasons, changing what we're doing depending upon product. Price points obviously important too if you cook with the seasons. That should help your food cost a little bit if you're using stuff that's abundant and around. I think primarily cooking with flavours and the marriage of flavours, seasoning and techniques. And if you get all those things right, well then hopefully it'll be a wonderful dinner. So I'd just like to thank you for dining with us this evening, and hopefully we'll see you again next time. Cheers.